Hey guys, welcome to my channel. So today's video is going to be super fun. So we're doing the May Smart Art Box, and for those that don't know what the Smart Art Box is, it's just a monthly art subscription box. And the link to the Smart Art Box website's in the description if you guys want to check it out. So I'm not doing any giveaways or anything today. I'm literally just going to be demonstrating the Smart Art Box for you guys. And today's one's going to be super fun. So it is, I'll just show you. So you can pretty much see immediately, for those that know what acrylic pours are, you can just see from the top of this little brochure that that's what we're going to be doing. If you guys have any questions as well in the chat, if you can just put it in capital letters or tag me in it, so it makes it a little bit easier for me to see instead of trying to go through every comment. But welcome to those guys that are on here. Hey, Maureen, Sandy, Annie, Jacqueline, Tracy, Capacia. Welcome guys, so nice to see you. Awesome. Okay. So the pamphlet just gives you a little bit about what's in the box. So it usually tells you something about an artist, and then about the tools in the box, and then a specific description on each thing that's in the box, and project pointers, and then at the back they give you instructions. So I'm not going to go through this. For those that get the box, let me just see if I can brighten this up real quick. It's a bit dark, isn't it? Yeah, that's a bit better. Cool. Okay. Yeah, I'm not going to go through everything in here. Those that get the box, you guys can have a read. I'm just going to jump in. So I've done acrylic pours before, so I sort of have an idea of what to do. And I'm just going to show you sort of my way of doing things. But what I will do though is I'll go through the materials that are in here. So we've got Deco Art is the brand, multi-surface acrylic paint. So we've got a purple, like a violety purple, a white and a red, and these are really big bottles as well. Like, I was very surprised when I felt the box, because the box is pretty heavy with all these things in here. I was like, oh my gosh, what can it be? And then we've got pouring medium. So the instructions on here say that when you mix these together, it has to be 2 parts paint and 1 part pouring medium. So we'll do it that way. Usually I actually go 1 part paint, 2 part pouring medium, but I guess it depends on what paint you have. And then we have a little MDF panel, a small canvas, and a pretty big canvas. And yeah, so that's what's in the box. So let's put this aside. Now, something I like to do with whichever boards I'm going to be using to prep it. Oh, look at this one. It's got little things in the back, so it's easy to hang up, I guess. So let's open. Hey Ismay, Lady Marigold, Yvette, Arvis Bless. Is it hard to dry the pouring? Okay, so I usually I leave it to dry overnight usually, so it takes about, if you pour it really thick, it does take a couple of hours, so you're better off just leaving it to the next day if you can. So what I like to do, it's going to be pretty messy, but what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take a plastic cup and I'm going to glue it to the bottom so that I got something to hold on other than the board. And, or not glue it, I'm just going to use some masking tape. So I did a workshop a couple of weeks ago with acrylic pours, and everyone, when they come back the next day to pick up their artworks, they were all dry. So, but it wouldn't have been dry enough for them to take it on that day. So I'm just gonna stick it down like that and then stick it to the board. And that should do the trick in holding it pretty sturdy. So I'm gonna do that for each one. And then this big one, I'll use 2 cups instead of 1 cup. Oh yeah, this way. So there's a nice big, like, sleeper couch over there, which the girls get to lie on and stare out the window. So I'm hoping that the delivery guy doesn't come during the video, because it'll get very, very loud. Because Taylor has a huge bark. Okay, stick that one there. Maureen's saying if you use canvas for your pour, can you also use push pins under each corner? Yes, you can. Oh, she's not asking if you can, but you can. Yes, so if you got canvas, use push pins on the corners so that they are stand off the surface when they dry. Because the paint will get on the sides, and then you don't want it to stick to whatever you're putting it on to dry. The first time I tried it, I put it onto newspaper and obviously the newspaper stuck on there and I couldn't get it off. So that's pretty strong. And then this one I'll apply too. So I am unfortunately going to be pretty wasteful today, just because it's easier. So I'm using plastic cups, I'm using some of these sticks for mixing, and what else? So yeah, just the plastic cups. I'm going to be a bit wasteful with them. But it would be good if you keep using these. Oh, what I like about these paints is that they are water-based and they are non-toxic, which is great, and they're really easy to clean. So if you don't want to be wasteful and you're going to do this a lot, then reuse some cups and just rinse them out after. Cool. Radio. So that's them. Now we want to mix some of these up. So get some of these sticks out here. Oh, and I've got some of this coconut milk hair serum, and this, because it's got it's silicone based, it's really great for creating cells, and I'll explain what that is later. So we'll give that a go later. But first I'm just gonna do like a basic mix up. Does this have a... Oh, this is very watery pour. Okay. So the idea is with the acrylic paints, you use a medium that makes it really watery. So the whole point is to have a very, very watery paint, not a very thick paint. So I'm just gonna pour some purple in there, some red in there, some white in there. Now I like to use a lot of white, so I know I'm going to use a lot of white, so I'll put more in that one. And then I think I'm going to experiment a bit with mixing some of these colors up a bit more. So I just want to see what kind of color I get from that. Get some different colors happening. I'm not doing the medium yet, I just want to get some colors. Make this one a little bit more of a purpley color. More purple. So when you are trying to get a consistency of paint, like that is still really thick. Now you can't see, okay, maybe if I hold it up there. Do you see how thick that is still? It's pretty good. But you want it to be, you want it to drip off even more. So I'm going to take the pouring medium and just pour some in. Oh, I don't like how that is. Let's pour a bit in, all of them. And then I'll show you how to work out the consistency. So I'll use that whole thing in just this one, I think. Okay, so mixing that up. This is like really sticky paint. This is really nice. That's gonna pour amazing. I still want it a bit more watery than that though. I almost want it to be the consistency of the pouring medium. This one's pretty good. This one's a bit better. I don't know if you can see. So look at the one in front of that camera there. It's a bit hard to tell. Okay. Mix the purple up. No, Esme, I'm not going to record. But thank you. It'll also be too hard because it's going to get messy, so it's going to be hard for me to press record every 10 minutes. So I'm going to want more medium in there. a nice consistency. Okay, so I like that consistency. It's so hard to tell. You can't see how, because the camera's right above, you can't see the drip. So look at this camera, the webcam camera. So that consistency is what you're looking for. That one's still a little bit thick. That one's still very thick. I might have to get more medium. Which I got if I need to get it, so. So Esme's saying, so pouring consistency has to be like a runny syrup, like what you pour on pancakes. Yes, exactly. Exactly that. So I can use a bit more. Okay, I'm gonna use more. Okay, let's just use that for now. And for this first one, I'm not going to do what the instructions say in there, where they do the flip cup method. So you pour everything in one cup and then put your canvas over the top and flip it. So I'll do that for the second one. But for the first one, I'll just show you sort of what happens when you pour these paints together. So if you've got a couple of tubes of acrylic paint, you have to use a medium. You need to use a pouring medium. So if you're looking for medium, look for pouring medium, and then that is what you use to make the paint really watery, not water. Because what happens if you add water instead of the pouring medium is the colors mix in with each other, and the more colors you mix with each other, the more it becomes like a muddy look. Whereas if you're using a medium, the colors don't mix with each other unless you physically mix them in. They will just sit next to each other and slowly merge with one another, but they won't mix into a different color. When you add water, they're just going to mix into one color. When you just have it with a pouring medium, it's not going to mix into one color, if that makes sense. Okay, so let's do this. So what I'd like to do, I'm going to put them up here, is I'm going to take some of my Yupo paper. So I've got a pad of just 158 GSM Yupo paper, which Yupo paper is pretty much like a plastic paper. So polypropylene is a synthetic plastic. So I would like to use that at the bottom, so whatever drips off will drip off onto this paper, and then we can see if we can create, oh wow, Then we can see if we can create another artwork from whatever's dripped onto the paper. So it is going to drip off and get pretty messy. Okay. I'm going to start off with this one here. We'll do the dirty pour with the square one. Okay. And I'm going to show you what happens when you add this, which creates cells. Ideally, you want to add that when you mix the paints together. But just for the sake of demonstration, let me get my tea somewhere else, so I don't get that dirty. Let's use that one. So with pours, you can literally just pour it on. Okay. I definitely want to grab more medium. I'll be right back. Okay, so I'm going to use this Liquitex Gloss Medium Varnish. So it's a fluid medium, which is what it says at the bottom. So fluid medium or pouring medium, that's the kind of medium that you want to get when you mix up your acrylic paints. So you don't have to use acrylic, you don't have to use the proper acrylic paints that they make for the pours, because they can get pretty expensive. You can use any acrylic paint. You just have to mix it with a pouring medium. Okay, because these are still pretty thick. And I want them to be super, super watery. See, that's why the instructions say 2 parts paint, 1 part medium, but I think it's 2 parts medium, 1 part paint. But you have to play around with it. Okay, I need more color. And you can see that when the paint starts to look a little bit like it's turning slightly translucent, then you want to add more color. Okay. So the paint will last you a long time. It's the medium that won't last you. You'll go through a lot of medium when you do acrylic pours. Okay, so for this first one, I'm literally just going to pour onto the canvas. You can do that any way you like. And usually with the whites, not shy with the white. I like to get the white in everywhere. Okay, so then you use your cup as a handle to move it around. There we go. So that's that one. Now I'm going to show you something really cool. So I'm just going to put that down there. Clean your area. So if you want to create cells, you want to mix in something with silicone, you want to mix it into your paints. But because we didn't mix it in there, I just want to give you an example of what a cell is when you... How'd you open this? Why aren't you... Okay. I'm gonna drop a dot on there. I'll drop a few dots on there. Do you see what's happening? So the silicone sort of makes it part a little, and it creates an effect that's called cells. But you don't want to do it like I just did there. You'd rather want to mix this in with the paint, because what happens if you just put it at the top like this, it parts it so much that when it dries, you just have like a blob of silicone on the surface. So you want to mix that in with your paints a little bit more, and then it creates that really cool effect. And it looks a bit like marble. It looks super cool. Okay, so I've got these. It's messy. I've got these boxes next to me on the ground so they can dry. So I'm just going to... Okay. Cool. And then this is the Yupo paper. So let's play with that a bit. So this is just what was left on there. So it's mixing in a little bit more now. But you see how the colors stay next to each other? If you use water, those colors are just going to mix in completely. They're going to mix into one dirty color. So that's why you need to use a pouring medium. But you can use a pouring medium and add a little bit of water. As long as there's more pouring medium than water, then you should be good. So I like that. That actually looks really cool. Let's see if we can get it more to the corner. think I like that as it is. So I'm gonna put that down to dry. That looks super cool. And now the cup that I did before, as you leave it, it's gonna just continue to change. So let me bring it back. So this was the one that we did earlier, and look how much it's changed already. Just in that while that it sat there. So it's gonna keep changing until it can't move around anymore. So what I'm gonna do next is I'm going to mix some of the silicone in the paints here. And then I'm gonna mix these into one cup, and we're gonna do what you call a dirty pour. So let's put this one there, and this one here. And now when you put silicone into the paints, you just want to have like a drop. So I actually have a little dropper. So I'm going to use that, just so I've got a little bit more control. You don't use much. That's it. Okay, let me check if you guys have any questions. Just refresh from time to time, especially for buffers. And he's asking, is it better to stick to 2 or 3 colors? Well, that's up to you. You can do whatever you want. Okay, so because I still have so much paint in it, so I'm just going to mix them up again. So I'm mixing the silicone in there. Now I'm going to take a cup and I'm going to pour colors, a bunch of colors in here. So we're going to do a dirty pour. So when you pour into the cup, you want to pour fairly up high, so that what happens as it goes in the middle, the higher you hold it, the lower it goes down to the bottom layer. So you want to just I'll call him back. I'm not sure who that is. Okay. More purple. Okay, that'll be more than enough. Okay, so then you can, if you want to, you can just give it a like one twirl, not too much. And then you're going to put it, oh, you're going to flip it over like that. and just watch the magic happen. See how the cells are forming? It's so much fun. It's very addictive doing these things. I'm just gonna listen to that voicemail. I was supposed to do a workshop today, but it got cancelled because no one booked in, and I hope no one just walked in. I don't know. That wasn't a proper voice message. I don't think they realized they were still on. How cool is that? So I just moved it so that it would cover the whole board. And that's what it looks like. You can, if you're feeling brave, you can add whatever's left in the cup. And you can play around with it forever. You can also create patterns. So that's that one. And I really like what it's doing to the paper. Put that one there to dry. what's cool about this with the Yupo paper is that you can come in with your like India inks or watercolors or whatever and work around it. It's mesmerizing just watching it. I'm sorry you can't really see what I'm seeing.
It's easy to speak out about the way I live, but it's a 24-karat dream. No supermodel in my dirty jeans, but in my 24 inches.
Oh my gosh, it looks like some sort of animal. Maybe a bull? It's a big back. Okay, so let that dry. And then we're gonna do the big one. I love how everyone sees something different. Okay, so let's do another one. I don't know what I want to do for this one. The flip cup method is pretty fun. I think let's do one where we just do a bunch of lines. Yeah, I think I'd actually like it to be even more watery. It's still too thick for my liking. And then maybe we'll do that and do a flip cup over the top of it as well. Let's do that. But I need to mix up some more white. Okay, I'll use the same cup. So instead of flipping this over with a flip cup over the top, we can just pour this in. So pour the mixture from the cup. Great, and then we'll just move that around. That looks so cool. Okay. Let that sit. Oh my gosh, it looks amazing. That's so cool. I really love the way that looks. Now I want to see if I can put all three canvases next to each other, so you guys can see. I may have put a bit too much silicone in because those cells are going crazy. So it depends on what you want, if you want more cells or not. So many. That one. And that one. Awesome. So that's what acrylic paws are. I think I am paint free on the ground. I hope. On the chair. Okay. See if there's any questions. Tracy, that's a good question. So Tracy's saying, I wonder if it would roll off masking fluid if I was to block out an area to use for colored pencil. Well, what I did instead of that, because it's still pretty thick, so I think once you put masking fluid over the top, I mean at the bottom, and it dries, it's I don't think it'll work. So what I did is, with a collaboration that I did with Ellen, so if you look on my YouTube channel and you look at artist collaborations playlist, the one that I did with Ellen is I took an acrylic pour, and once it was dry, I took a watercolor ground and I painted the section that I wanted to draw on with the watercolor ground, and then I was able to draw on top of that. So draw on the watercolor ground using my watercolor pencils, or you can use your oil wax-based pencils with solvent, and then you can draw like that. So that collaboration shows you how not how I did the acrylic pour part of it, but more of how I did the drawing part of it. So yeah, it's called Watercolor Ground. The Daniel Smith Watercolor Ground. That's it. Okay, cool. Well, that was probably like the quickest live stream we've ever done. How long did that take? 35 minutes. Awesome, guys. So that was the May Smart Art Box, and it was the acrylic pours, and that's what it looks like. So what you can do is that, like, I like to use them for drawing, so as backgrounds for my drawing. So I'll probably leave them to dry for a couple of weeks, and then when I feel inspired, I will paint a section with watercolor ground. And then, like, this would look really cool with a pretty drawing of a fish, maybe like a Siamese fighting fish or something. Then I'd paint the section that I want to draw on with the watercolor ground, and then I would draw on it, and then the background will just look amazing. And then if I had to paint a fish on there, at the end I would spray it with a gloss varnish, and then it would look like it's in water maybe. So these sort of things can give you so many great ideas. And what the workshop that I was going to do 3D pours, so pour things on 3D objects, and then you know, like if there's a box on top of here and you pour it with a box, you could sculpt a little person sitting on the edge of the box with a fishing rod or something like that. So you can be super creative with this. But even on its own like this, it looks really nice, and it's a beautiful artwork, and none of them, you would never get two of the same. So that's what's so great about this, is every one that you create is super unique. So yeah, so the pours, I put way too much silicone in. Like that's just, those cells are a bit more than what I would like, but you know, it still looks okay. So be very slow with the silicone that you put in. Don't put a lot in. Mine was really dripping, so I think I just put a bit too much of the serum in to make the cells a bit extreme. But that one, yeah, so that one was just pouring on its own, and these two were pouring with the mixture in one cup. So there's a lot more variation in those two. Cool. Alright guys, thank you so much for tuning in, and I will see you guys next time.